Okay, now we're going back into the DCEU for part 13.
Unlucky 13.
We watched, fortunately this wasn't one of the best ones. We watched Shazam! Fury of the Gods, aka Shazam 2, which just came out in March and flopped at the box office.
Yeah.
So you didn't watch this with me because you didn't want to rewatch it so soon.
I don't like watching something right after seeing it. I like to forget a little bit.
Which is one of the differences between us, because I love watching the stuff again because it helps me commit it to memory. Now, as I don't have as much to say about this, so I'm going to try and focus on the good things of this. I mean, you get the whole cast back. You get all the kids, which unfortunately they've grown up a lot, in 4 years difference here.
Yeah, that's a takeaway.
Yeah, that's not good. But they did get the whole cast back. You got Helen Mirren, Lucy Liu in it. Jimon Hansu is back. And he's great, although his storyline doesn't make much sense. Which, oh well. The dragon looked really good. I really like that.
Yeah,
it's a different, like, wooden dragon, and it, like, when it roars, it just emanates fear, and people panic, and they can't move. That's one of its powers. I didn't
like the unicorns.
There is some humor in this movie, but, man, I mean, I think the director, David F. Sandberg, who directed the first one as well.
Yeah.
I think he did a good job with this.
But it's a copy of the first one.
Yeah, it's essentially, it's the first one, it's just more of the same.
It's extended.
And that's
it's like the extended version of the first one.
That's why the critics didn't really enjoy it.
Yeah, they didn't come up with anything new for it. I mean, it's a sweet movie. It's well done, especially compared to most of these other DC movies that were not done properly.
It is currently rated at 49% Rotten Critic rating.
That's because it's a copy, I would say.
Because there's nothing new. And an 86% audience score. So, not a lot of people saw it, but the ones that did enjoyed it.
It's still a well put together
And I enjoyed this movie too.
You know, I think would have been really fun
what?
If the kids, because they are more grown up, if they would have been all separated now and we see what they're doing with their lives, maybe one or two could still be in like high school and having issues there. But if they were all like trying to have their first job and get their first apartment and they're all separated and then this happens and then they have to get together, that would have been way more interesting.
Good idea for a sequel.
Yeah, that would have been way more interesting.
Yeah, I didn't like
having the same thing again.
I didn't like that Mary didn't go off to post-secondary education. She didn't go to college or university.
She's still there?
And she's still there.
She wouldn't be allowed. They wouldn't be able to feed her.
Yes, they got that really expensive house there.
Yeah, they have a lot of mouths to feed, and they're teenagers. Like she wouldn't be able to stay unless she worked there. That would be different, right? She should have a job there.
Yeah, she did talk about that.
But she's like, no, I mean, worked at the house.
Mm-hmm.
She'd almost have to be like a counselor or something in order to stay there. They wouldn't let her stay there.
Social worker?
Yeah, something like that.
So
anyway, I think it was a lost opportunity and it's a copy, but it is still well done.
The Lair, okay? The Lair is full of like wacky kind of visual gags.
Yeah.
Because they've dressed it up with all kinds of kid things. So
yeah.
Shazam, okay, so Zachary Levi is sitting in the main chair, which is the wizard's chair.
Yeah.
And he's got one of those beaded seat cushions on it.
Yes. Like, if our daughter had a lair, it would probably have strings of llamas and little Christmas lights.
Well, there are Christmas lights all over it.
Yeah.
And they got all kinds of fun things. They put up a TV. The 7 Deadly Sins, they've decorated them to look ridiculous. I love that.
That's what especially a teenage girl, that's what they would do.
The one they keep showing was Gluttony. They drew on it a bikini on Gluttony.
I just thought it was real cute. And
so there's a lot of good visual stuff like that.
It was nice to see that stuff hashed out, but again, do we need it? Do we need this movie, I guess?
Yeah, it didn't do anything new. So my problem with this movie is there wasn't enough humor, but the main problem with this was the script. It's not the director's fault. It's not any of the actors or anyone's fault. The thing is that I think they rushed this, and the script wasn't where it needed to be. First off, the humor was, if the first one had lots of humor, this one was way down here.
Yeah.
Okay? It didn't have that. So there's a lot of things that just don't make sense. Dame Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu just show up, and they don't really offer an explanation for that. Okay, where did they come from? They sort of address it, but not really. Jimon Hansu shows up.
I think it's just a timing issue.
Didn't he die in the last one?
Issue.
Okay, and they sort of explained it, but not really. Now, there was a funny scene where, what's the main kid's name? Billy. Billy Batson. He's dreaming, and that he's Shazam, and he's on a date with Wonder Woman at the restaurant,
Right.
but they don't show her face, right? But you see there's Wonder Woman, and when they do finally show her face, it's Jamon Hansu,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
he's interrupting his dream to talk to him in a vision,
Right.
and so you see Wonder Woman with Jamon Hansu's face. I'm like, this is weird.
And the problem, I think
weird.
the other kid.
It was great.
What's the other kid? Is
Freddy?
He's a much more interesting character, and they should have focused on him more in it. They
Yeah,
did a little bit, but that's where the humor would have come from. Also, so most of the kids have moved out of the house, and they got new kids in the house now. That's what happens.
No,
And
it's
that
all
would-
still the same kids.
Yeah, exactly, but that wouldn't be like that. There's always new kids coming and going, so that also would have been interesting, right? To put that in, you don't just have.
But
the
it was
same
nice
kids.
getting to see the same kids again,
But
right?
they would. I think it was a missed opportunity.
And because
it-
we're spoiling this, we do get Wonder Woman at the end. And while I like the cameo, this didn't really work very well because
she's
Bill-
not good at anything.
no. I'm not saying that at all.
No,
okay?
but all these cameos that she's in, it's unnecessary. It seems most of the time. To
No,
have her in
having
these
her
things.
in The Flash was good. Having her in this really didn't serve much purpose other than the fact that Billy's obsessed with Wonder Woman because he's a teenage kid, or he's supposed to. Guy looks like he's 25 going on 30 at this point.
Yeah.
The actor Asher Angel, and he's got this Hollywood, California tan on him. Come on, they're supposed to be in Philadelphia. These guys should be as white
Yeah.
as possible.
Should have
They
focused
wouldn't
on
have a tan.
Freddy more. Freddy's a more interesting character, and I think it should have been just based around him.
Could have used some more Darla making her funny jokes.
Yeah, if it was about Freddy and her, because they're now the.
But
they're of
Billy's
that
the
age.
star because Shazam is.
He's not that interesting.
I like how they continue with trying to have different names. So, Freddy calls himself Captain Everypower, and he calls Billy Captain Everypower Jr. Because in the comics originally, and this actually goes back so far that Elvis was into this. His favorite character was Captain Marvel Jr. Because originally Shazam was called Captain Marvel. They don't go by that name anymore because it confused with
confusing
Captain
with the
Marvel
Marvels.
It's
very confusing.
in the MCU.
Yeah.
So I didn't like how the fact that they kill off Shazam at the end, and then in less than 5 minutes he's brought back. And it wasn't done in a very well. Oh, the staff has no power in it. So Wonder Woman comes up, lifts it up, hits the ground. Oh, suddenly it's charged again. We bring back Billy, comes up out of the ground.
So you
I'm
still
like,
needed Wonder
what
Woman
is
from
this?
the beginning. Yeah.
If it means there's no stakes to this movie.
Exactly. And I find Billy is not that interesting. I find the other
He
characters
wasn't
are
as
more
interesting in the first one with his tragic origin story.
Yes.
That was
He's
heartbreaking.
very well rounded considering.
Yeah. The first one was great, but this one they didn't do as much with that character. And they didn't do much with any of the characters.
No.
You get the foster parents back, but they're not as funny as they were in the first one. I mean, both of them look great,
It's
and they're
missing some charm. This movie.
everyone in this movie, all the actors, the director, everyone is doing the best they can with what they're given. Unfortunately, what they're given isn't very good because ultimately the script let them down. And I think they should have waited and pushed this back until they had a good script.
It's lacking some charm that the first one had. This was a new concept in the first one. It was very charming, and that's why people really liked it.
And funny.
Yeah, and people that didn't know the universe could go there and watch it. It was still good. It's well put together. It's well done. But it was missing that whatever the first one had.
What else can we say about this movie? Now, even though having Jamon Hansu back as the Wizard didn't make much sense, he's amazing.
The Wizard.
He's amazing in everything.
I think the Wizard is the comedy that we need.
He popped up in Black Adam for a cameo.
Well, yeah, they should have used him more in Black Adam. But anyway, I think he's funny, and I like him.
And there was some half decent jokes, but unfortunately a lot of them were spoiled in the trailers for me.
Right.
And that adds to the fact that it wasn't as humorous because, remember when he's doing that hashtag family thing?
Yeah.
When he's talking to Helen Mirren, because they're having Philly cheesesteaks, he's like, you may be older than me and know a lot more and have more experience and look really old, but I've seen all those Fast and Furious movies, and I know it's all about family. And then no one shows up, and that was the cue, so they would show up.
We saw that in the trailer.
And
the trailer wasn't. Anyway, I think you like the CGI stuff in the dragon. Oh, I couldn't care less about that.
No, that's not what made the movie.
I don't like the fighting, and there was quite a bit of that kind of fighting, imaginary CGI. with
Oh,
monsters.
I know what
or
else
on
is good in
monsters.
this movie. Mark Strong comes back for an end credit scene, and they put a beard on him, and he's still Dr. Savannah locked in that room in the prison.
Yeah.
And we get to see Mr. Mind again.
Now he's more interesting. I really want something more about
And we
him.
find out that he's just trying to run errands, but he's a caterpillar, so it's taken
takes
him like
forever.
4 years.
Takes forever. I think that's a very interesting
Yeah,
character.
and then he takes off again, and Mark Strong's like, "What are you doing? I gotta get out of here."
Listen, this is the rewrite on this. The caterpillar is now the villain. The kids are all grown up. There's new kids in the house. We still have a couple there that are emerging and having their own issues. And
Yeah,
the
like Dharma.
caterpillar is there to take them down. And the wizard has to be rescued. And that's a better movie.
Yeah, there you go. You could have Mary off in college, and you could have Billy as her roommate.
Having their own issues, and we see
maybe
their
Freddie,
lives.
and you could have Freddie too. And
Yeah.
then the younger kids are still at the house, and then there's new
there's
kids,
new kids.
but they still visit them, and
Yeah.
sometimes they have to get together and team up.
maybe the family's having some issues to support the family of so many teenagers eating so much food, and such a very expensive mortgage must be on that house. Those are things that would have made a better movie.
And they just bought it, and then it got destroyed. But
Yeah.
they did rebuild it, so... But they still would have to buy all that
the
material.
upkeep on that kind of house. Oh.
I'm sure that's like 100-year-old house in Toronto.
The upkeep with the roofs and everything. Oh my gosh.
That's
Anyway,
a big house.
that would have been better. Bring back the caterpillar. Of course, you know I like caterpillar, so.
Well, maybe if we get another Shazam movie, which I doubt we are, maybe the plan would have been Mr. Mind would have been the villain,
Yes.
but he brings back Dr. Savannah to help him as a sidekick.
Yeah.
And oh man,
Yeah. Bring it
wasted
on.
potential,
I know.
unfortunately. However, I
And the
still
caterpillar would have been really clumsy trying to hold on to things like little like like magic spear wands and stuff, and you'd be really having
No,
a challenge to hold on
you
to
could
things
just
and
have
to
the
travel.
You could just have the
would be
caterpillar trying to
hilarious.
do some evil plans, and then a
Yes.
bird comes and takes him, and he's like,
Hilarious.
"Get off me!"
There's like so many things you could do with that caterpillar. Anyway, lost opportunity.
Regardless, this movie came out. It flopped hard, unfortunately, which it didn't
It's
really
still a
deserve.
sweet movie.
It's fun. If you get a chance to check out Shazam! Fury of the Gods, I recommend it, especially if you enjoyed the first one. If superheroes aren't your thing, you're probably going to be lost if you just jump into this one.
Yeah, the first one, I went with people that didn't know anything about this stuff, and they thought it was a great film.
Yeah.
This one's is like, it's the first one extended, so
Yeah.
still gives you more of this family and stuff.
It's unfortunate what happened, but I enjoyed this, and on the internet rating system, I give this a best movie ever. What kind of rating would you
It's
give
still good.
Shazam! Fury of the Gods
Like,
here? I got my
If it was
4K
on its
copy.
own, which wouldn't have made much sense, like then I would give it a higher score. But yeah, I don't know. I forget what I gave it before, but it's still well done. I'd probably give it like a 90.
Oh, nice.
It's
nice.
just well done, but it's just missing that charm.
Yeah. Well, the director's not going to do any more of these now. Because
No.
of toxic fans complaining to him about how they didn't like this and this and the
Right.
thing. I mean, I don't think this movie's perfect, but the director, David F. Sandberg, should be proud. He made a good movie.
Still a good movie.
I enjoyed it. I'm going to enjoy watching it
I had
again and
fun.
again over the years. And I don't think he has anything to be embarrassed about. And if people are giving him a hard time, that's a dick move. Don't give the director a hard time. He made a good movie. He did a good job. It's not his fault that the writers and the screenplay writers let him down, right?
Yeah.
Oh, well. That's
If we
unfortunate.
were getting a whole bunch of these, like a TV series, then okay, this would have been all right. And then the next one, we see the caterpillar as a villain, like this,
I
but
don't,
it's not.
I don't think they should put any of these characters on TV because it devalues the brand then.
I just
You want to
mean-
have them as movies.
This was like, why make this movie when it's the same as the first movie? It
Yeah.
just doesn't make sense.
You got to come up with something new. Give us a reason for that. But whether you saw it or not, let us know your comments down in the comment field below. You can give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this segment or any of the others. And that was part 13 of Into the DCEU.
Yeah.
We're almost done now.